The Bride Who Returned.
It was the eve of her wedding, and she was so happy.
It is finally happening,
She said to herself, giggling in front of the mirror. She snuck out of her hotel room where she had lodged with family and friends to see her fiancé in a lodge opposite their hotel. The hotel and the lodge were owned by her father, so she knew every part of it. She disguised herself like an old woman, tying a wrapper to cover herself properly to avoid being recognized.
Daddy will be very disappointed with me if he finds out I went to see Cross in his room,
Anita thought to herself. Even with the heavy security guarding the hotel, she managed to sneak herself out. She ran to Cross's lodge. It was a very big lodge where her father had instructed Cross, his friends, relatives, and all the children from Anita's foundation and orphanage to stay. Omari and Franca were also in this same lodge to help in organizing the orphans.
I can imagine.
When she got there, everywhere was quiet, so she tiptoed to the lounge because that was where Cross's room was. She walked in on Cross, her fiancé, having a threesome with her two bosom friends who were her bridesmaids. She wanted to run out of the lodge, but they wouldn't allow that because her leaving to tell what she just saw will spoil their future for them. So they all rushed her. Cross covered her mouth with cloth, and they all pressed her face with a pillow until she was gone. They quickly wrapped her in a bedsheet and took her to the beachside, dug a very deep grave, and buried her there. Anita was an only daughter to one of the richest men in their city. She was so humble and kind that she wanted to help every poor person she ever came across. But as the sand was leveled and the night swallowed its secret, none of them noticed the silence that followed them back.
Anita made her father open a charitable foundation for her that took care of the orphans in the society. This was where she met her two bosom friends, Omo and Franco. She made sure they had the best education by attending the same school she went to, going on vacation with her. They even shopped with her. In fact, they were more like her sisters. She met Cross, her fiancé, at an event, not knowing that Omo and Franco had arranged him for her. 2 years after meeting him, they were set to get married. A few hours before she caught them, her father had already paid for their admission for MS in a foreign university, plus the monthly allowance he gives to each of them. So allowing Anita to ruin all that for them was a no-no.
My two younger brothers are under her foundation,
Cross said angrily.
Her dad had already promised to hand over the position of director to me in his companies based abroad, while his son, Ike, Anita's brother, manages their father's oil wells here in Nigeria. How can I allow all this to pass me by because Anita was being stupid?
Cross said angrily.
For the last time, let's get our story straight. The last time we all saw Anita was during the bachelor's dinner party. We have to behave well so that her disappearance will not affect our chances with our family.
After much rehearsal, they went back to the place they buried her to make sure it didn't look suspicious in any way. Cross's lodge was closer to a beach, so they buried Anita at the part of the beach where no one goes.
Since her father forbade her from seeing me today, I believe she must have snuck out, so let's keep our cool,
Cross said, and they all agreed and swore not to reveal what they had done, no matter what happens. Yet as they swore their oath, the ground they trusted held more than just a body.
A few hours later, Cross and his groomsmen had lined up at the altar, waiting for Anita. She was already 30 minutes late. Cross knew she would not be showing up, but he had to pretend he was surprised. When the flower girls lined up with their little baskets in their hands, throwing colorful flowers into the air, Anita walked in majestically with her bridal train. Cross immediately started fidgeting and sweating. Everyone who noticed assumed he was having wedding jitters. He must really love her, some of the guests murmured. When it was time to kiss the bride, Anita pulled Cross closer and whispered,
You have killed Anita. Guess who I am?
And she smiled. Cross started shaking with fear, but Anita whispered again,
You want them to know? Keep it together now.
Cross looked over at where Omo and Franco were standing. They looked at him, scared too. Omo and Franco quickly ran to the restroom to catch their breath.
That is not Anita. I am sure of that. She is dead. As a doctor, I know she died. Besides, she had been buried for hours when we went back to check on her.
Franco said, pacing around in the restroom.
Then who is that?
Omo asked, sounding scared.
We need to find out. First of all, we have to maintain and compose ourselves well. I don't want anyone to notice anything. Cross is losing it already.
Franco said, and then opened the door to leave. Throughout the wedding reception, Omo and Franco kept watching Anita. She was smiling the whole time. They noticed she did not take anything, not even water. She was just looking around as if she was looking at another set of people in the hall. Her father danced throughout the reception. He was very happy. No one noticed Anita's odd behavior because everyone was in high spirits. After the wedding ceremony, Anita canceled all their travel plans, including their honeymoon. Cross was too scared to complain. But the smile on Anita's face never faded, and Cross knew whatever walked down that aisle was not his wife.
He was looking for an opportunity to go and check if Anita's corpse was still where they buried it. Cross eventually got a chance to sneak out later the next day.
Hello, Franca, you and Omo should come and meet me at the beach. Let us check if Anita is still buried there and know who we are dealing with.
Cross said over the phone and entered his car. He drove off and switched his phone off. When they got there, they waited until it was very dark. They dug the grave and saw Anita's corpse, already smelling and still wrapped in the bedsheet. They both looked at one another and shouted,
Who is that person parading as Anita?
That is definitely not
Anita!
when Cross and Anita got home later in the night. Anita's father handed over the key to a new house he had just bought for them.
Since Anita have refused to travel and live outside the country as we had earlier planned, I have bought this mansion for both of you to start your life here.
Anita jumped and hugged her father, smiling. Cross managed to smile, but this was not his plan. He wanted to travel out by all means. A look at Anita's face, and he saw a cold, white face of a person that had been dead for long. He shouted,
Jesus!
And everyone turned and looked at him. He uneasily smiled and apologized.
Sorry for startling you. I thought I saw something.
Cross lied. Cross and Anita were supposed to start their new life as a couple in their new mansion, but Cross was so scared of spending even a moment alone with Anita. And that night, fear followed him into the house that was meant to be his home.
It was 9 p.m. and Cross took a sleeping pill to be able to sleep deeply as he was so scared. Anita was still watching television. They have not spoken to each other since they got home. A very loud breathing sound, loud enough to wake Cross, who was sleeping like a log of wood, up. Cross jumped on his feet and noticed the room was pitch dark. Who was breathing like that? He almost shouted while rushing to put on the light. He saw Anita sitting on her own side of the bed, looking at him without blinking. Cross ran out of the house crying. He wanted to scream but controlled himself.
What will I say is pursuing me? If anyone asks,
He thought to himself and just stood beside his car. Their security man quickly ran to him and asked,
Sir, is there a problem? I thought I heard someone running.
Cross looked at him with so much anger and said,
Get out of here.
Cross walked into the house and sneaked into the guest room downstairs. He called Franca on the phone.
Cross, why are you calling at this odd hour? Is everything all right?
Franca asked, sounding concerned.
It's Anita. She doesn't sleep. She is just awake, watching me while I sleep. I am so scared for my life. I don't know who that is. I am losing my mind right now. This is not how I want my life to be. Please, we need to find a solution to this. I cannot continue like this. This is just our first night, and I am already so exhausted.
Cross kept talking for several minutes. Franca promised to visit with Omo in 2 days' time. But before any help could come, Anita had already begun visiting them all. When it was morning, Cross slipped into their room, but Anita had left the bed. He looked around for her but didn't see her. He was about to check in the restroom when he saw Anita standing close to the wall, staring into space, looking lost. He ran out again, entered his car and drove off. He went straight to his partners in crime.
I think I am losing my mind. Anita is not a human being. And we cannot continue to overlook that. She has not said anything to me.
Cross said angrily.
But did you ask her any question?
How can I ask her when I know she is obviously not Anita? Please, both of you should follow me to my house. Let's find out who that is.
When they got home, Anita was nowhere to be found. Cross looked around and saw her car parked outside. He also saw the man who just resumed as Anita's driver sleeping in the security post. He didn't want to make it obvious that he was looking for Anita, so he asked the security.
Did Anita leave the house when I was not around?
But the security man was surprised and said,
No, I have been here since morning. And I even locked the gate, so no one had gone out.
In all you do in life, do not hurt people, especially those ones that have been good to you. Nature has a way of fighting for them even when they don't want to fight. You will never go free. The end.